Well, hello and welcome to today's webinar, Displaying Your Order of Service and the Presentation with Lutheran Service Builder. My name is Stephen Jenkins. I am hosting today. I'm a software consultant here in Concordia Technology Solutions. Been here about 5.5 years. I do love speaking with each and every one of you, getting to know what your needs are for the church and helping you out with those needs. I'm blessed today to be joined by Ken Olemeyer. This is his contact information and photo. Ken is actually going to be leading the webinar today. He's going to take us into Lutheran Service Builder and show us all of the great features that we have to offer. Before we jump in, a little housekeeping. We're going to have 50 minutes for this presentation. We will reserve the last 10 minutes for questions, but please don't wait until the end. If you have questions throughout as Ken is presenting, please ask them in the chat box. I will answer them if they are not covered by Ken, and we'll cover them again at the last 10 minutes of this webinar. Now, we are recording this webinar, so if you need to step away for any reason, don't worry about that. We're going to send out the recording so that you can review this webinar at a later date and share it with everyone there at church. Now, with Lutheran Service Builder, it's a web-based software that allows churches to quickly and easily plan services, create custom bulletin interiors, and export presentations and playlists. It also lets you confirm with copyright requirements. The benefits of this software being web-based is it's multi-platform. So anyone who has a Mac, you can definitely use it. Also, you can bring this software up on laptops, tablets, and even your smartphones. You can invite users to work together in concert. You'll see those changes happen in real time. And also, we allow you to leverage the web functionality and any new features that we implement into the software. You don't have to wait on them. You just log in and enjoy those changes instantly. Now, in the preparation for today's webinar, we had a couple of assumptions. We're assuming that you understand the basics of liturgy, that you're new to Lutheran Service Builder, and you either have a subscription or you're working currently with a free trial. But we don't want to just stick with those assumptions. I want you to have the opportunity to tell us a little bit about yourself. So I'm going to bring up some questions here and give you the opportunity to answer them. So the first one we're going to launch here is please select the option that most closely describes your role, primarily at church. All right, looks like we have some admins and church musicians. Great. Leave it up for a couple more seconds and we'll move on to the next question. Excellent, thank you. Next question is, are you currently using Lutheran Service Builder in your congregation? Let me launch that. Looks like we're about 50-50 there. Okay, we have some individuals that are looking to subscribe soon. Excellent, welcome. And the final question, what would you consider your Lutheran Service Builder skill level to be? Intermediate, okay. We have some novices, excellent. Couple more seconds. All right, excellent. Thank you so much for answering those questions. We always want to get a feel for who we're presenting to. All right, so for the outline, Ken is going to walk you through planning a service and selecting the elements. He's going to walk you through editing, the formatting, and exporting the content out. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Ken and let him jump into software and start sharing it with you. One moment, and I'll go ahead and switch this over to Ken.
All right. Well, thank you, Stephen, and thank everybody for coming today. We really do appreciate it. As Stephen mentioned, my name is Ken Olemeyer. I'm one of the senior marketing managers here at Concordia Publishing House. And I think it's safe to say, what are we now, 4 to 6 months into this? I mean, who could have ever imagined the changes that the past few months with COVID and the pandemic would have ever brought? We continue to pray for our brothers and sisters who are ill and struggling, but we also continue to pray for you in the church. It's one of the biggest changes I've noticed over these last few months is just the number of LCMS churches who are now putting their services online, sharing the gospel through their Facebook pages, through their YouTube channels, through even their website. And if you haven't been a video church before, the question is, are you now? And, I know it hasn't been easy for a lot of people. I'm an elder in my church, and we're still at times struggling with getting the camera right and the technology right and all those type of things. And for many of you, especially, I love having so many musicians and administrative people on here. It's a busy time. And is it going to slow down? I don't know. I mean, all I know is that we're going to be getting into Advent and Christmas very soon. So even with all of these changes, sometimes we just need to simplify, and sometimes we're going to need to present our services. So many of the services I know have been abbreviated during this time. And maybe you provide a midweek service, or maybe you're doing other types of service. Maybe you've added a couple services to try to deal with some of the restrictions that are put on by the county or the government. But how can Lutheran Service Builder help you with all of this? And how can we quickly put together a service? And how can we quickly put together our presentation of that service? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. So in my role at CPH, Stephen kind of alluded to some of this, but one of the things I do is I go around and I visit with pastors. I visit a lot of churches. Actually, I guess these days I'm Zooming in with a lot of pastors. But I also talk to the church musicians. I talk to the administrative people. I talk to the school people. A lot of people just like you, maybe with a different title or a different responsibility. But even growing up Lutheran, as I have, I never realized all that goes into planning one of our Sunday worship services. As a layperson, I just want to say thanks for that. And this is really one of the reasons why I like to share this software with you, because admittedly, I don't use this every day the way that some of you might as you're starting to plan your service. But I want to show you just how easy it is to plan, to organize, to edit, to customize, to print out, to present, all the different things, your worship service materials. And I always say, if I can do this, you can do this too. So one of the other things too, Stephen mentioned the benefit of being online is we listen a lot to our customers, and we want to know, we want feedback, we want to hear ideas, we want to do different things. And we're able to incorporate some of those changes or those additions right into this type of software. So you're always having the most current, up-to-date version when you go with Lutheran Service Builder online. So what can you do with it? If you're like me, you love our liturgy, you love our hymnody, you love the scripture that's in it, you love the order in it. With Lutheran Service Builder online, you can simplify how long it takes you to plan these services. And think about that. What would you be able to do with the extra time in your day? What other ministries could you be involved with? It might require a change in how you normally do things. I think we've all been changed a little bit over the last few months in how we do things. But if something could be easier for you and free up more of your time, I think that would be something of interest. So we're not going to be able to cover everything today. I'm going to do a quick overview. I'm going to share some of the navigation. If you're more of an intermediate, some of this might be redundant for you, but if you're new to this software, it's a good overview of where everything is located. Perhaps you took advantage of the free trial that we had during the COVID lockdown. If you didn't, we still offer a free trial. And if you go to the Concordia Technology Solutions website, you'll see a free trial button on every page. We recommend just doing it. There's no credit card or any obligation to it. You can actually give the software a test run yourself, and you can see if it might be something useful to you. Once you sign up, though, you'll see how quick and easy it is to be up and running in no time. Couple of cautions, a couple of things to note on the free trial. You won't be able to copy and paste. You won't be able to print and export, but you'll have a full time to use that software otherwise. So one last thing to mention on that too, with the added flexibility of the LSB Online, it's the same price point for you if you've used some of the other software before too. So Stephen will go into some of the pricing and can talk about that. But let's start this webinar today by just taking a 30,000-foot view into the software itself, and we'll look at how to plan a service and then how to present a service. So let's get started here. I'm going to grab my screen. I think I hit something, but I don't think I got the right screen. So let me share my screen and let me go to this one in there. All right. Hopefully everybody sees my screen right now. I'm seeing it, the view that you have. And what you're seeing here is the opening page. Once you sign in, this is the account that you'll go to, app.lutheranservicebuilder.com. And this is what I see. And I think really one of the biggest advantages that this Lutheran Service Builder Online has really came to light and came to view during the COVID situation over the last few months. It's the ability to work anywhere. Because this is web-based, you are not tied down to that one computer in the office that had all the old software loaded to it. You can do this from your home. You can plan your service from a coffee house or a kitchen table having a coffee. You can do it on your back deck. And there's some ability in here, and I'll show it to you, how to share these with other members of your team, so that if you have other people that are taking part of this worship planning, they can get a part of it as well, and they can help with the service. Because it's web-based, it's PC and Mac compatible. That's something that we heard from a lot of people early on, said we need this for the Mac. So we were able to bring this onto the cloud or a web, and it's available for both platforms, and that's huge. As I said, you can help plan and share the service. I'll show you how to do that. And the other thing too is, because of this now, and again, because of a lot of the restrictions we've had with worshiping at home, or maybe having a reduced number of people in our congregation at one time, you can save this, you can email it to people, you can put it on your website, you can put it in your slides, you can put it in video format. So there's a lot that you can do. But let's first just take some time just to go through the navigation right now. And again, this is the opening screen. This is what you'll see. And I just want to kind of click through everything and just let you see where everything is here. From a navigation standpoint, the thing you'll notice here at the top left corner is a cross. This will always take you back home. This is your home screen, your home button. If you're deep into some different things, you want to get back to just the start, this is where you'd go. Under settings here, well, actually, let me keep going. You've got a search button right here. I'll show you some of the search material later. In fact, I'm going to take that out. Let me go back to, well, I'm going to X this out, sorry. Now I'm going to go back to my home screen. Next there is a gear wheel or a cog. These are all your different settings. And I'm going to touch on a few of these right now. So you just have your calendar. I just showed you search, and I did it through the magnifying glass, or if you wanted to go here and search, and I've got a category already in there, and that's what I was trying to get out of before. All right, so let's say I want to, it shows you many of the different items that you can search here. You can search actually for any words and phrases. You can search for a particular Bible reference. You can search for a hymn number. But some of the other things too I love on here is the ability to search just by topics, by tunes, by liturgy, and by series. And something that I really like too on here, I'm going to put in here series. Something I really like in LSB. I'm kind of locked out. There we go. Is you've got your 3-year lectionary and you have your 1-year lectionary too. So a lot of times I'll go around and I'll talk with pastors, and they may be 1-year lectionary folks. So you have your 1 year in here that you can plan. It will show you different things in here. Let's say there's a particular, let's say there's just a particular verse you need, or holiday. I'm going to type that in there. And all right, my keyboard's not working, so I've been having some difficulty with that today. There we go. Well, I'm going to skip that. I'll come back to some of those type of things later. Okay, it did pop up for me. But I want to show you that because I love this. You can just pull up some of the readings. You can do the different prayers for the church. Sometimes if you just want that one thing, maybe you're going into chapel for the day and you think, boy, if I had that prayer real quick, you can just log into your software, search for it, and you can have that prayer right there. And then you see the different buttons here. You can export it, you can print it, you can copy it. All right, none of this is going to help you with the presentation. I just wanted to share this material with you because I think it's some good stuff there. More on the settings here. You have your different worship resources. So your prayers, your hymns, your common elements, maybe some different liturgies, your copyright holders. And this is one of the big advantages of LSB Online too. All the copyrights are taken care of. So you have your copyrights in there. You can also import from your LSBX files as well, and the one underneath that. Bulletin formats and presentation formats, we're going to come back to that. I'm going to share that with you as well. Account settings, these are just your standard account settings. The other thing too, you can add different license there. You see the content subscriptions. I've included my creative worship content in there. My Let Us Pray, I'm subscribed on both of those. And again, it shows locations. I'll point out the locations to you here in a second. But I can add different license, etc. And then I just go to my right, there's a little X there, and I cross out my X, and I'm back to where I was. And then my preferences, if I wanted to click in here and have my preferences, and then log out. So everything there is pretty well standard, but there are two things I really want to point out here, and that's bulletin format and presentation format. And this is where you can set up how your bulletins look and how you initially do this from the very beginning. So you see on my left side of the screen, I have different titles here, different formats, my default, my creative worship, my large print. Here's my default. When I click into my default on the right side now, I'm able to change things like my style, and I can go into the different sections, my body, my headings, my captions, sub-captions, my rubric, copyright, etc. I can then also, let me go back to style. I clicked a little too soon, but I can change my fonts. I can change the formatting of those fonts. I can change the spacing, and I'll show you how to do some of this too within the presentation format, because sometimes with this, you can format it here, and then when we export it to a Word document or a PowerPoint, you can then go back in and do some additional formatting if you like, and sometimes that's convenient as well. If I go into layout, it has my different paper sizes, my page sizes. You can do custom pages on here. I've talked to a pastor, and they actually do it where they have it's folded. It's 8.5 by 11, but it's kind of folded in third, and he has some of the different readings and things like that. So there's a lot that you can do from the formatting section here. Then there's folded as well. My margins, I can automatically scale it, and then my content, I can show different things in here, and I'll go through some of these when we're actually in developing the service. But let's say you want to have the music all the time on, and that's the way I like to do it, is see the notes. So as a layperson, I'm able to actually sing along. But we can do all those different things, and I'll go through some of those as we're putting them together. But then you can save it. You also have in here, and I'm going to go back to it, bulletin formats. You also see a couple other things in here. Again, I have subscribed to Creative Worship, so I have my Creative Worship style in here as well. I have large print, and I love the ability to do this so quickly and so easily for a lot of our sight impaired members who might need that. It's very easy for you to print those off and have a few of those copies available for those folks. And then you can also go in and do your own formatting. And I have a thing here that I call demo formatting, where I went in and I just changed some of the formatting, changed some of the type styles, different things. Provides a lot of flexibility for you. And as I said, as we then download those as Word documents, you can go in and do even more flexibility and more formatting options for you. When you go out of here and you go back and we go to presentation formats, we're going to talk about this as we move along here, but same type of thing. This is where you can then go into your presentation styles, change color, imaging, body styles, etc. You can change the layout. You can change the content and format the different content. And I'll go into some of this, the actual formatting of these, because there's a couple of neat features that I really like that had been added within the last year or so, or maybe I just found it the last year or so. I don't know, but there's a couple things in here that I love that you can do on it. Okay, let's get out of all that type of stuff. Let's just start planning a service, because even before we can do a presentation, we've got to start planning our service. So let's do that. And to do it, I get back to the calendar view. So I'm back at the calendar view. The calendar view is always going to be my starting point. This is where we're going to be from the very beginning. And at the top, you see the month that we're currently in. I can push this button, go back previous months, and I love this too, because it's going to get busy before you know it, and it's going to be Advent before you know it. You can start planning your services way in advance, and at least start planning them. And then as you need to go in and tweak them and do different things to them, at least the start is there. But let me go back to this month, or today, or this month, and we'll go there. Something else you notice here on the right side, and I have this as a drop-down menu, and you saw it maybe in the preferences section or in the gear section. I can add different campuses, and I really like this feature. So I have my main campus right here, and I have my South Campus. You may have within your church, you may have 2 or 3 different campuses that you worship in. You can set these up to have them specifically for that particular campus. Maybe you're a dual parish. You can set it up that way as well. And I think that's pretty convenient here. So for the sake of today, I'm just going to stay on our main campus. But being able to do that, I think, is very time saving. Because again, if you have different formats and different things that you want to put in there, maybe one campus may be a little bit more of the creative worship style, the other is strictly liturgical. You could set that up and very easily work between the two. All right, the calendar view comes pre-populated with all the Sundays and all the church holidays, all the readings, everything according to the Lutheran Service Book, Altar Book. So all of that is on there, and clicking on any one of these holidays will bring you the propers view. And obviously, this is where all the suggested readings are. So I just clicked into September 21, which was St. Matthew, Apostle and Evangelist. And you see all my propers right here, my readings, my psalm, more readings, my introit, my collect of the day, my gradual, my verse, everything is right there. And we'll do more of this as we move along and as we start looking at our services. Now, you can only create, and I'm just going to hit the cross button, so I just take it back. You can only create or edit events for current or future dates. You can still view past dates as reference. So for instance, I'm just going to show you how that works. So I'm looking back into August and the 9th Sunday after Pentecost. I can click in there and I can view it on here. So I see my propers, I see my service summary, but I can't go in and make a lot of edits there. Now, what's great about this though is I can use it as a reference. I can see what we did even a year ago on this particular Sunday or that particular holiday or that particular special event, let's say. But you can also then go in and plan ahead, as I said, and that's what we'll do. The other thing you can do too is you can plan special events, weddings, funerals, etc. So to do this within the calendar section, all I need to do is click on something. So today is the 9th. I've got with friends who are getting married this weekend, so I can click in there and there we go. Window pops up. I can start putting in here. So let's just put in here. I've got to try to find, I'm sorry, my 15th Sunday. So let's just say this is a wedding. My screen is a little bit off, so I need to do that. But I can also go in here and, okay, what's the occasion? It's a wedding. So I'm clicking into wedding and I'm saying there, I'm going to say plan this service. And at that point, then it just opens up everything and I can start planning the service. So we'll do that. Let's plan a service. And rather than this wedding service, let's go back and do that. Now you can plan as many services as you need in that day. Again, maybe it's with school started, maybe you have school chapel in the morning, you've got a funeral that afternoon. If it's a weekend, perhaps you've got also a wedding then, and you've got your Saturday service or your Sunday service or midweek service. You can plan as many as you need on this calendar view. If you're starting to book up and you can't see as much in that calendar view, there'll be a little triangle. You just click on that and it'll have the rest of the dates right there. So as I said, there are two ways to plan a service in Lutheran Service Builder online. One is just clicking on the date and customizing it, or you're clicking on a pre-populated Sunday. So let's do that. Let's move ahead. And before I do that though, real quick too, you'll notice some of these are bold and some are not bold. The ones that are not bold, I've not started working on yet. So the ones that are bold, I may have clicked into it. I may have started working through the service and maybe working ahead. What's great about that is you're thinking about Advent and Christmas and the future, is you can start blocking those services out and even just doing a little bit on it. You'll see that that's bold and you'll be able to go back in and make some edits and some else. So let's go into October. Let's look at October the 18th, festival of the 20th Sunday after Pentecost. I open it up and all my propers are right there. My suggested readings for the day, my Psalms, my epistle, my gospel, my intro, and everything is right there. Once we do this and we look at it, you see the button right here says plan this service. Let's plan this service out so that we can get it to a presentation stage. And I can go straight to that. And now you see the window has changed a little bit too. Now I'm in my service plan section. And you still see my readings, and you see the ability to add hymns, look at the order of service, look at it, maybe additional rites. Maybe I'm having a baptism that day or something. Or I have a section for notes that I can put in there. Especially this is helpful if you're in the administrative role or if you're in the musician role and you want to just put some notes about this particular service that you can then go back and look at as well down the road. I can also go in here and change the name or the date or the holiday that it is, or I can make a copy of the service. So there may be some types of services where it's 90% the same and you're just changing a few things out here and there. You can copy it and then do it as well. Or eventually, if you wanted, you could delete the service. So any number of readings, any number of hymns, any number of rites can be added to this service. Again, it's funny as we're all kind of trying to figure out this the last few months. I know a lot of services have been abbreviated, so you don't have to have everything in here as well too. But let's take a look at this. If we select service plan as we have, I've got my readings here. I can even go in, I can add readings. Like I said, I can go in and even do some editing within that reading. Or if I want to take a look at this one and get some other suggestions. Let's say instead of Psalm 96, 1 through 9, I wanted all of Psalm 96. I just click into here and there it is. First Thessalonians, there's some others. Well, I have some other suggestions here. So because this was Luke, I can go in here, suggestions for Luke, so show some other holiday readings that would work as well and do that. But I'm just going to keep my readings as is right now. What I think I might do is I might take this one out. So you just see the X right there, and I'm just taking that out. So we're just going to have 3 readings right here. Now, when I want to add hymns, and this is really pretty easy to do as well, I click into add hymn. And what you see on the right side of the screen right now, the right side of the website, are hymns from Creative Worship for this particular Sunday's worship. There's the hymn of the day, and then hymns for the different readings. All of those are right there at your fingertips, and they're easy to pick up. Other suggested hymns are there as well. Plus, I have the ability down here at the bottom to browse all hymns or suggestions for Proper 23, suggestions for Luke, different things here and there. Again, this is specific to this particular Sunday, but each Sunday would have their list like this. So to pick a hymn, let's go right off the bat and add the hymn of the day, 940. I just click on it, moves it over. I'm going to add another hymn, same list pops up. I wonder, let's see, evening and morning. Click on that. That's added. Let's add another one. All hail the power of Jesus' name. Let's add that. Okay. So that's how easy it is to add hymns. Oh, wait. Let's say I didn't want evening and morning. I wanted something else. Again, I just click off of it. It's gone. I add a new hymn. List comes back up. Say, oh, well, I did that too fast. I do want evening and morning in there. So I'm going to add it back in. So we've added different hymns. Very easy to do. If I wanted, as I said, if you're subscribed to some of the creative worship, I can add a couple of the creative worship hymns in there as well. I'm going to add one more. Okay. Actually, I'm going to use that to replace the other one. So I had highlighted on my morning and evening, changed my mind right there, and it did that. Now, let's take a look at the order of service. And you notice that it's empty right now. So I've got to pick my order of service, and I clicked into that. And I'm going to do, let's do divine service setting 3. So I'm going to click into that. And again, this depends upon how you do your services and how you plan your services of which one of these you want to pick, but they're all right there, as well as matins, vespers, morning prayer, evening prayer, funeral services, everything's right there. Everything from the altar book is right at your fingertips here. So I do that. And then if there were additional rites that I wanted to add, I could do that as well. Like I said, Advent and Christmas is going to be coming up soon. We'll probably do a webinar at that time just to show some different ideas there for Christmas services. And then I can add my notes and everything else. So I've got my program together, or at least the start of it. Now I just want to start working on my bulletin, and I'm checking my time here and make sure we've got plenty of time when we do, because that's how easy this is. And I can do a couple different things here. I could go straight to prepare a presentation right now, but I want to show you how to prepare the bulletin first. But I could do prepare a presentation if that was solely what we were looking to do. But I'll show you how these two are so similar. I go into prepare presentation, and it's loading up for me right now. And when it loads, you'll notice a few changes within the toolbars and different things here. And it's changed due to the part of the service that I'm looking at. And it is loading. I'm going to hit reload because it shouldn't be this slow. All right. That's going to take me all the way back to the beginning. Let me do this. I apologize. We have had some technical difficulties today on our internet connections. And there it is. So it does load up for me. So good. Hopefully your internet connections will be a little bit faster than some of these today. But here is the initial framework, if you will, of our bulletin that we're preparing. And I said, you notice a couple different things up at the top here. This is my document. I'm in my default bulletin format. All I have to do is click on this button, and let's say I wanted to change format. I wanted to go straight to my creative worship format, or I wanted to go to my large print format. Here's everything that we just put in there in the divine worship service, or my demo format. And again, that was something that I went in and made the edits and the type changes and things of that nature. For the sake of today, let's just go into default and do that. I also, if I needed to change my mind and I said, well, no, I really don't want to do divine setting 3, what would happen if I changed it over to divine setting 2? Gives me a warning, says, it might replace some of the changes that I've made. I'm saying that's okay, I'll take that. It's going to reload it for me. It's going to load it back up, and there it is now with the changes there. I have the ability here to save this. I have the ability to export it. We'll get into both of those, but I want to share this with you. And this is where I'm saying you can do this. You can be sharing content as you're working on your services here. I click on web view, I enable web view. This is going to give me a link right here. I'm going to share this link. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it right here so you can paste and go. And you see that it's going to open up with a shareable link of the service that I'm working on. Now, where does this come in handy? This could come in handy as you're working as a team and you're like, okay, this is where I am so far. What would you change? What would you recommend? Or is there something you want me to add? You could share this link with others. When your service is done, perhaps you can even share it on your website. I'll let Stephen address that if that might be something. Also, while I'm thinking of it too, if you have questions as we go through this, by all means, please put them in the chat. I'm going through this very fast and just covering the tops of a lot of things. So hopefully I'm sparking a question or two in your mind. One of the things that we want to do is be sure that you've got the information you need in order to make the right choices when you're looking at software like this. There's nothing more frustrating than working with a new software package and not being able to figure everything out. That's why we're here to help. The Concordia Solutions team is there and they're ready to help for you. But one other thing, as you get stuck, or if you were to get stuck, at the bottom of every screen, as an administrator and someone who's going to work on this, you see a little circle I right there. If I click on that circle I, this is your lifeline. This is where you can go in and type in questions or try to get ideas on something. You see search for help articles. It also has a link to our online help center. We have a lot of resources for you to do training on this and to learn different things. Most of this is very intuitive, but there are those times where you're like, boy, I wish I could figure out how to do that. We probably already have the answer for you. But it'll give you suggested elements or suggested articles as well. You can start a chat. You can chat with us on it, or you can send us a message. And if you send us a message, you got a subject line here. The second part is, what are you trying to accomplish? What do you need to know? Please try to be as much information in there as you can so that we can help answer the question the first time for you. We don't mind going back and forth. We can do different ways, but we want to get you that answer. And one other way you can contact us too is an 800 number, 800-346-6120. So again, I wanted to point this little circle I out here because it is a lifeline. And there will be those times where it's like, oh, how do I do this? Well, it's right there for you. Plus, we've got a whole support team ready to help. Okay, couple other things. You notice as when I clicked into this, it changed the top, but I'm going to go back to document. And here's where you can export this. You can export this as a Word document, as a rich text format, or even an HTML. And because I want to get to the presentations, I won't go too far into this. But you can also then go in and insert different things as well. So you have the opportunity to insert your rubrics, a heading, captions, the hymn, if you wanted to insert another hymn. And you see, as I move my cursor down, you see the little spot where I can insert something. So I'm going to just put that and see if I can insert. Well, I insert a rubric right there, but I'm going to delete that. But let's say right at this point, let's say I wanted to insert, I go back to that. Let's say I wanted to insert another hymn. If I click into that, it opens up. I'm going to see all my different hymns right there. Praise and thanksgiving. Let's just say I'm adding that in there. So again, I'm not going to go through the whole building of the actual service itself, other than to show you how simple it is to make some changes in here. But I wanted to add the melody line. So I just click on melody and there it is for you. I wanted to change the stanzas. Maybe I don't want to sing stanza 2. I do that and that's changed for you. Think about how much time that's going to save as you're planning your service and you're looking at your notes and you're saying, okay, this is what we need to have in this service. I can also move this into different sections. Let's say I wanted to move it before. I click into it and I hit move. And I can just kind of move it right to there. Yeah, I'm going to move it down. I'll do that later. I'm not going to insert a rubric. I'm clicking too fast. That's how fast some of this is. But there's all of this. The other thing you'll notice here too, you see when there's a blue bar and a drop down arrow, I can click into that. What that's showing me is I have an option. I can choose either one of these options. So let's say instead of the intro, I want to do the psalm. I just click into it and it's done. Okay, so I did an insert tab. I showed you some of that. We can do rights, many different things here and there. and you just kind of hover on the spot where you want to do it. But sometimes as you're planning, there might be a thought that comes in mind, or as I mentioned earlier, if you're planning far ahead and you're just getting the framework done, so you don't have to spend as much time when you're actually there that week doing it, and you just want to insert a couple things here and there, or you want to go in and change something right away, you can do that. So let's say I did all of that. I'm just going to review it. And I know I'm going fast. I know I'm going through this very fast, but I'm just going to scroll down and show you that everything is there. I can go in, I can make edits, I can change things up. I can do different things. I can add my distribution hymns and do that. I can add subcaptions, etc. But let's say I've got my document just how I want it. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to hit export. I'm going to say export it as a Word document. I say yes. It's saving it down here at the bottom for me. I'm going to have to open it up and drag it over from my other screen. That is not a problem. It's up, and there it is. There's my bulletin format in a Word document. I can go in here and enable editing. If I wanted to, I could go in and make even more changes to it, or more editing changes to it, or more stylistic changes. But it is right there for me. I can fit it to the pages I need to do. If I'm doing a PDF to attach, I can do that as well. So here's where we really want to get to, though. And that's, how do I take this now and make a slide? And this is so simple too, that I won't have to spend a whole lot of time for you here. But let's just go back. I'm going to go all the way back out here. And I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to go all the way back just to show you just in general. So I'm clicking out of there. We are back to our home screen, our home calendar. I'm looking at October the 18th. You see that it's bold, so you can tell that I started working on the 20th Sunday after Pentecost. I'm going to click into that. And instead of prepare bulletin, I'm going to say prepare presentation. Click into prepare presentation. And presentations are one of these type of things. Now that so many churches are using slide decks, and again, not every church was a slide deck type of church. My church is not a slide deck church. But you never know what the future impact of COVID is going to be and how long this is going to be. We don't have the hymnals in our pews right now, but everything's printed in our bulletin. But some churches may not have the hymnals. They're not really printing a bulletin. They're presenting everything. They're putting everything on a screen. The ability to project now is even more important for us. So I've actually seen this used very effectively with a pastor who is putting an online service where he's got the screen, the presentation, and then he's got an insert of himself doing the readings and different things like that, so that the church members are following the video, but it's really a PowerPoint presentation with his camera, with his face in there as well. And it was very, very effective. I was impressed with it. But here are different types of things. So I've got this in here, and you can see, again, it's just the same materials that we had, and it's, the format is a little dry right here, but I've got my song right here, and I've got my different verse. This works great, by the way, for small hymns. It does take some editing and some different things to do this in a different style, but I can also just go through the same way as I did in the other screen as I'm preparing my bulletin. I can go in and make my edits and my changes right here. Let's say I do want all 3 verses back, so I can put that in there. It'll be added. So there's some different things that I can do in here. Again, I have the ability in here to change, formats here and different things. I can separate different things. So if I just want the hymn title, then I can separate it and we go straight into it. Again, a lot of different type of editing I can do. I can change some of my hymns on this side, but I really want to get to the point where I'm showing you the different presentation formats as well, because I said there's some neat things in here. So this is my basic presentation format. I export this as a PowerPoint presentation where I can go in and do some additional editing. Perhaps you have a template that you like to use. You can easily do that, but everything's already printed and typed out for you. I can also export it as a media shout 6. So both of those are options for you. But if I go in here to my formats, and this is where, from the very opening slides, I talked about in the gear wheel here, the different formats, presentation formats right here. It's right here for me as well. But I can go in, and I think I'll show this to you from this angle first. So I'm back to this, and I see my basic format. I can go to the right side, and I can change my style, my layout, my content, very much like any type of word processing document. So I'm not going to go into a lot of depth with it. Just want to point it out that it's there, that there's a lot of flexibility to you. There's also one called Iron, and this was actually the one that I saw the pastor using in his online service. He had used this as his template. But this is nice. It's got some beautiful imagery of word and sacrament. And then you can go in and do your own formatting. And I did this one called demo formatting. And I just did these quicks. I mean, you'd want to tweak them and do some different things, but I want to share this one with you because what's great about it is you can go up here and you can add an image in the background. Now, when you do that, you're going to have to make sure your type's readable and all that. There's a whole graphic side of this that we're not going to go into today, but you have these options available to you. And I love this. I love being able to add an image in the background now. You can also go in here and change the color. So I can do that, and I can go in and change some different ones. I also did a demo formatted based on the basic there, where you can just see I changed some of the typefaces and the fonts just to help make it a little bit easier to read. Let's say I wanted to put an image in the background. All I do is I click upload, and let's say I want to put this picture of the Holy Spirit behind it. I do that, and you see how quickly that is changed. And that's actually kind of nice. You can read that. I can see that being presented. I might go in and I might tweak some different things as far as the color of the fonts and things of that nature. But the formats are there, and you can build as many different formats as you need. Especially helpful if you have two different campuses, like I said, or different types of worship that you want to distinguish between them. So I'm going to click out of there. Oh, I'm going to hit save, first of all. All right, so I'm going to click out of there. I'm back into this. I'm going to go back to my demo formatted from basic. There it is with my image in the background. And then I'm going to export this. Well, first, let me just slide down and just show some more of these where I have this presentation here. Like I said, you may need to go in and do some additional tweaking. That's okay. The bulk of your work is finished for you, and the bulk of the work is done pretty quickly. But you want to make this your own. You want to make this what's going to work best for you and your congregation, and how you're going to present it. Is this going to be a big screen presentation, or is it going to be something people are going to see on their computers at home? So keep that in mind as well. So I'm going to go back to my document. I'm going to go export. I'm going to say PowerPoint. Tell me I needed a font, but I've got that, so I'm not too concerned with that. It's downloading my PowerPoint presentation. I click on that. I'm going to have to drag it over from my other monitor on the other side. I'm going to drag it over. Let me grab it here. Oop, partly over. Let me grab it. There you go. And there it is. And then from there, I can do my PowerPoint show. Oh, I have to enable editing, but I can do something like that. So then I'm presenting my entire service right here. And you see at the bottom, you see the permission, you see the copyright. So I don't have to worry about copyright infringement or anything of that nature. You can see then we have confessions of sins. I can go in there and I can edit how some of that is shown. But here it is for us very quickly. I'm going to get out of there. That's actually the PowerPoint view of it. I'm going to get out of there. So, but I love the ability now to do some different things with the imagery. Got about 5 minutes. I want to share music real quick with you and do that because I love having the music as well. I once I visited a pastor in Iowa. I'm going to go into here. I visited a pastor. Oops, sorry. I'm clicking all over the place here. Let me get out of this. Let me cancel that. I was telling the story. I visited a pastor in Iowa one time, And he was fantastic with developing the slide presentation and such. And what was so neat about it was that he didn't have an organist. So he had a subscription to Concordia Organist, so he had all the music available to him. But he did the slide presentation, and he was able to embed the music right into it. And he had his little clicker, and it was just flawless. It just, when it was time to sing, the hymns came up, he sang, the church service sang, everybody was happy. He said he had a visitor come by afterwards and say, boy, your organist was really good. So I loved hearing that story. But what we do, we go back into when we're planning our service. And you see prepare bulletin, which we did. We prepared presentation. I'm going to hit prepare playlist. And what that's going to do, that's going to open up another window for me. And you see on my right or my left side where the music is in the service, where different components of the music are. So praise and thanksgiving. I want to review that. And I'm playing it right now. I hope you can hear it. I'm going to be quiet just for a second. Hopefully that's coming up loud enough for you, but it's the organ piece of that. And if I click into it, I actually see the text. I can view the melody again. Okay, hopefully you can hear that, but if not, it's playing. I can get additional information on it. I also can search for related topics or related scriptures and things of this nature. And I love this ability to be able to do this quickly. Stephen mentioned that you can take this onto your phone with you. I've talked to pastors who will take this program on their phone into hospital visits. And what's great on that, depending upon the visit you're making, this particular pastor that I remember talking to about this, talked about when he's visiting some of the ill, the very ill, and they have a particular hymn they want to request. He's able to pull it up right away and actually have the melody and the song and everything right there to be able to share that with and minister to those people. But I love being able to do this. So all we do is we double click, we click on it, we select it. I'm going to take that. Well, I'm going to go back into this. So at the very top, you see an include button. So I'm clicking back into that. I'm going to hit include. So I want that song. I want the Kyrie the way it is. Now I have I have a couple options here, Gloria and Excelsius, or this is the feast. We're going to do this is the feast. I'm going to hit include. And I just go through there and just keep including what I need and what I want to do. And again, you have to have the separate subscription for this, but if you don't have an organist, this is a very cost-effective way to do it, even in this COVID time, where maybe you don't have your organist all the time. This is still pretty effective to be able to do it. So anyway, I just click through, and I'm not going to keep going through all these, but I'm hit include, and I do that. And then when it comes time to save it, I export it, and it's going to export it in a zip file as MP3s. What's great about that, especially as we think about our presentation, is you can embed those into your presentation. And you can be like that pastor in Iowa that's clicking and nobody knows there's not an organist in the background playing. So I can do that and save that. And that is really about it. And again, for the hymn license and such, there is a different portion of that we can discuss. Stephen can help you with that. Any of our Concordia Technology Solution folks can help you with that. I just think that it is really a neat feature to be able to do that. Let me go back to my homepage and do that. So just to wrap up, as I said, there is so much that you can do with Lutheran Service Builder online. The ease, the flexibility, the advantage of doing it at home, not being locked to that one computer in the church office, the ability to share, the ability to assign different people to work on some things with you, to have different campuses. Yeah, this overview was just scratching the surface. It's very tough to go too in depth in the time that we have here, but I recommend signing up for the free trial. With the free trial, you can sit down and you can start working on it. And there's so much that you can do because it will free you up for other parts of your ministry. Think about what you could do with a few extra hours in your day each day to be able to do that. Now, we're going to be offering more of these type of sessions as the year goes on. As I mentioned, we might do one in Christmas time and talk about adding, special Christmas music and hymns and worship and things of that nature. But if you've got an idea, if you've got a suggestion, if there's something in particular you'd like to see, please contact us. I mean, we are here for you. The sole purpose and mission of Concordia Publishing House and Concordia Technology Solutions is to be here to help those in the church. We come in every day helping to move the church forward, and we want to support you and the ministry that you have. So thank you so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate that. If we can be of any assistance, don't hesitate to contact us. Stephen's going to jump back on and give you his contact information again. You're welcome to contact me as well. I hope that I get a chance to see you out in the field soon when travel restrictions lift. But I'm going to switch it back over to Stephen. Hopefully we've got some questions, and if we don't, that's okay. If you've got a question later and you want to contact us again, please do. Stephen, if there are questions we can help address right now, I'm going to head it back to you.
All right, I'm ready.
All righty. I'm going to change presenter back to you.
All right. So thank you so much for walking us through the software, Ken. Always a pleasure doing these demos with you, or these webinars, should I say. You really know your stuff, and it's a pleasure just to see you zip through the software and point out the great features. As Ken had mentioned before turning it back over to me, we encourage you, if you have not worked with this software at all, please go to lutheranservicebuilder.com, start a free trial, and work with it and see how much more you can really use this software to plan your services and get things done in a very timely and cost-effective time there. So Lutheran Service Builder, again, lutheranservicebuilder.com is where you would start your free trial. And if you have any questions, definitely reach out to us. Again, here's our contact information for sales. I know we didn't cover pricing. It really wasn't about covering the pricing. We want to really show you the features there. And if you do have questions about the pricing for Lutheran Service Builder, the hymn license add-on, and Concordia Organist, definitely reach out to me or the sales team here. These are our email addresses. We'll be more than happy to answer your questions there. Now, if you do have the software and you're working with the trial of the software, reach out to our support team with any help me or how do I questions that you may have. This is their toll-free number. Ken showed you in the software how to reach this information, but I would like to display it as well, so you can take this time to jot it down if you wanted to. 800-346-6120 is the phone number to our support team, and you can email your questions to them as well at support@cts.cph.org. Now, Ken, we don't
Stephen,
have
I'm going to
any
jump in real
questions.
quick.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
please.
going to jump in real quick on this support issue. One of the things we do, we listen very hard when we get suggestions. And there have been over the years suggestions that have come in that we've been able to incorporate into the service. You all are working with this every Sunday. You're planning your worship service and you're playing it, or you're getting the bulletins and everything prepared. There may be things that we don't have in here yet that would be helpful for you. Please let us know that so we can continue to improve this software.
Absolutely. Yes, thanks for pointing that out. Now, I did receive a question concerning the Concordia Organist. Ken, as you were working through and showing that great feature, there's a question concerning using the entire hymn. And the question states, what if I don't want to play all the stanzas of the hymns? But guess what? With this software, you can actually filter out. So it's not just choosing the hymns you want played, but filtering the stanzas that you want played. And again, it sounds just like a live person is on the organ playing these great hymns. So definitely take a look at the software, play around with the free trial. Reach out to us if you have questions concerning pricing or any of the features in the software, and we'll be more than happy to help you out. Now, we are coming up on time, so on behalf of Ken, I definitely want to thank all of you for tuning in with us, and we hope to hear from you and work with you pretty soon. Have a great day, everyone.